Today, we got to talk about something that's hitting all of our pockets: food prices, specifically vegetables. We'll touch on fruits, but specifically vegetables. Their prices are going through the roof. So the latest PPI report dropped, and I'm going to tell you, it was kind of wild. So fresh and dry vegetables are up 38.9%, which we'll just call 40%. We're going to round it up. If you're good at math, you know we just round things up. Make it an even 40%, which means up 40% means if something was $1, it's now $1.40. If it was $2, it's now $2.80, and so on and so on. Fruits, they catching a fade too. Not as bad as vegetables, but they are fighting, kicking our ass too. We're gonna have to start growing our own carrots soon. We're gonna have to start growing our own cucumbers and watermelons. We're gonna have to figure something out because it's not a game out here. So we're gonna break it down. We're gonna figure out what's happening, why is this happening, and what this means for your grocery bill moving forward. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment below. And we're gonna get into it. So we're gonna start with some facts. Actually, we're gonna start with the video, and then we're gonna get to some facts.
Which is the biggest increase in 3 years, as you're saying there, Paul. So on a headline basis, that's a big number. Under the bonnet, it's been driven by services. You have financial services margins pushing up that figure, probably reflecting the stock market boom. And on the other side, there's retail and wholesale margins. And this is where things get into the weeds pretty quickly. There are some views that perhaps that side of things is reflecting rising cost pressures linked to tariffs. Maybe those tariffs are starting to be passed on. So there's a little bit of something for everyone in this PPI reading, but I think the overall takeaway is that, quite apart from yes on a headline basis, it's much stronger than expected. It also kind of leans into the idea that we don't yet know exactly how this tariff story is going to impact inflation. I've seen some economists say the Fed is correct to be holding on this wait and see mode when you see a data set like this, because we don't yet have complete clarity. At the very least, we know there are price pressures from tariffs, no doubt about it. Economists are warning more is expected over the months ahead, but it's very much almost at this stage, take it 1 month at a time to try and get a clearer handle on this.
Yeah, and then can you break down that a little bit more? What about the extent to which companies can pass that burden from tariffs onto consumers?
Yeah, well, it's obviously, you say it depends on the product, and it depends on their company margins and the sector. Broadly speaking, there had been, there are two camps on this. There's one camp that says, look, companies can absorb this in their margins. Either they're a seller on the other side of this trade can absorb some of it, and the company can absorb some of it. Margins have fattened, since the pandemic years due to inflation and everything else. There's that camp. And then there's a camp that say, no, companies can only absorb this for so long, and then they would have to start passing it along to the end customers. And I think that's probably where we feel like we are in the debate at the moment. That some of this is starting to leak through. It's a question now of how much it is passed on. And remember this.
So they're talking more about just the PPI in general and where we're at with that, and tariffs and inflation, but not specifically fruits. So we're going to start with some facts. We're going to talk about fruits. The Producer Price Index. That's what the PPI is. It's PPI for short. So it dropped on August the 14th from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, where they just fired the head person about 2 weeks ago. And it's showing a 3.3% overall increase year over year for July. But here's the kicker. About a quarter of that jump, that's 25%, a quarter, 25%, is because of fresh and dry vegetables spiking at 38.9%, which we've already agreed we're just going to call 40%. Fruits and melons, cucumbers, fruits and melons is up too, cucumbers is up. With the PPI for farm products like fruits, veggies, and nuts hitting, I believe it's like $216 in June as the wholesale prices. And that's before the grocery store gets it and before they do their markup and pass that on. The more money they have to pay, the higher they raise their prices, and they just pass the cost on to the customer. Now I'm sitting here like, hold up. So 40% for vegetables alone. That's just 40% for vegetables. You talk about my spinach, my broccoli. I love broccoli. They out here, they kind of turned into luxury brands at this point. And we're not even going to talk about fruits. We're not even going to talk about fruits. So the price of grapes lately, outrageous. Blueberries fluctuate back and forth, but the grapes are up like 34% too. Oranges up 23%. If you're out here trying to stay healthy, it's definitely putting a strain on your wallet. Your wallet will be less healthy. So, but don't go reach for that ramen. Please don't go reach for that ramen. So, what's driving the madness, according to experts, as we just listed some experts, and I'm always skeptical. I listen to everyone. I take what I take from whatever they say, the experts. So I'm a little skeptical of some of the things they say, but if it makes sense, it makes sense. So a few of the culprits that they're blaming first, not first, but the first one I'm going to mention is climate change. They're saying it's hotter, drier, which doesn't make any sense because it's everywhere in the world has been pretty rainy this year. But they're saying it's messing up the crop yields, and maybe, but some of, I mean, we've been having heat waves forever, and we've been having fruit forever, and this is just not a hot year. This is really a rainy year. I would think that that would lead to the way my weeds is growing out there. I would think that the fruits and vegetables would be growing just as well under those conditions. You got folks like Mark Blythe from Brown University. He's saying it's because of the labor shortage, because of immigration policies, which there may be some truth to that, which the Trump administration may realize, which is why they're trying to walk back some of those immigration things that they're trying to put forth when it comes to farmers. If you haven't heard, they're trying to exempt the people who work on the farms, the illegal immigrants to work on the farms, trying to let them work, stay here. We're going to deport most of y'all, but we're going to let, if you're working on a farm, because it's obviously having some sort of effect on our fruits and vegetable prices and our farming. So apparently, some of the farm workers are scared to show up to work because of crackdowns. People, ICE is just pulling up everywhere, and that's real. So if you have fewer people, which is fewer hands picking tomatoes, you'll have less of a supply. And you already know what that does to price. If you don't know, everything's off supply and demand. When supply is up, demand is lower because there's a high supply to go to all the people. When demand is high and supply is low, then the price of everything goes up because it's 10 of us here and there's only 4 oranges. So the orange becomes more valuable instantly because there's not enough of them. It's like gold. One of the reasons gold, besides is the best conductor for electrical things, one of the reasons it's so valuable is because it's so rare. You can't make gold. So that's kind of the point of that. The more rare something is, the less you have of it, the more valuable it typically is. And then you have tariffs. So over a third of the vegetables are imported, like tomatoes, asparagus, cucumbers, I believe bananas, and tariffs are jacking the costs up. So Mexican tomatoes, Mexican bananas, they're taxed at 17%. Now I get it, tariffs are supposed to protect the local farmers, but when the PPI only tracks domestic veggies and those prices are still spiking, something's just not adding up. Less imported supply means homegrown stuff costs more as well. And you can't really sleep on the war with Russia, Ukraine, energy costs. So all of that's still rippling through the system as well. Let's get to the real talk. What does this mean for your grocery bill? Grocery stores run on thin margins. For those who don't know, their profit margins are really slim. Always has been. Don't know if it always will be. Hopefully it will always be. So when wholesale prices jump like this, they're passing it on to you. That's guaranteed. Experts are saying we could see these costs hit consumers within the next few months, as the experts just told you. Because everybody's trying to figure out how this is going to be, and also you don't want that sticker shock. You want to gradually kind of go up on things. That means the apples, the lettuce, the potatoes, yes, even the spuds are going to get pricey. If they're already pricey, they're going to get pricier and going to hurt your wallet more and more. The USDA, they're saying that the farm level veggie prices are already down 1.7% from May to June, but they're still 20.7% lower than last year. So you don't really expect that relief anytime soon. And the consumer price index, that's the CPI for processed veggies and fruits, is up 2 to 3% in the first quarter of 2024. So this is not new. It's been building up for quite some time. I know we like to blame Trump or whatever, but this has been building for quite some time. You're already paying more for canned and frozen stuff, and now fresh produce is kind of joining the party. This is why I keep telling you, inflation is not just a number on a report. It's you. It's standing in the grocery aisle, is wondering why a bag of grapes costs more than a Netflix subscription. So we have to zoom out. Let's zoom out. So this PPI is part of a bigger problem. The report says inflation at its highest is at its highest since 2022, which services are up 1.1% and goods are up 0.7%, which doesn't sound like a lot, but those little numbers are really big. The Feds, they're watching this because the PPI kind of tells them like what's coming for the consumers. Because again, the PPI is what the business pays, and the CPI is what the consumer pays. If wholesale costs keep climbing, they might hike interest rates again, and that'll be bad news for it'll be bad news for us in the short term. Long term, I think we could benefit for higher rates for a longer period of time. But what higher rates mean is higher loans, higher mortgages, and it does unfortunately mean probably less money in your pockets. So they're saying that some of the tariff policies and the trade policies that is killing agriculture and jacking food prices up. I'll let you decide how you feel about that. But here's where I'm at. We can't be out here acting surprised. We've been printing money like Monopoly, like it's a game. We've been dealing with supply chain mess since COVID, and now we got the tariffs, and some people are using weather. Meanwhile, the government's out here investigating grocery stores for price gouging. That's ridiculous. They barely make any money, profit wise. But I'm like, y'all the problem. It starts way before the stores. You fix the supply chain, figure out the labor, and maybe stop taxing my tomatoes to death. Let's figure out something with the tariffs. Let's get more workers to the farms. Whatever we have to do. What's the play here? Because I know y'all ain't trying to go broke buying kale. I know y'all not gonna go broke buying kale. Y'all might go broke buying ice cream, but not kale. I would recommend you go broke. If you're gonna go broke, get the kale, get the orange, get the watermelon. But let's be strategic. You have to buy in bulk when you can, when prices are low. If you can, freeze the food, freeze your berries. Buy fruit. You could buy frozen vegetables. You could buy frozen fruits, and that way they'll last longer. Because some of the issues with fruits and vegetables are that you buy fresh ones and they do expire a little too soon sometimes. Second, you got to hit the farmers markets if you can, or a local co-op or something. Sometimes they're cheaper because you cut out the middleman. It's the people who grow it, and then it's you. There's no market in there to raise the price. I've heard people getting a dozen eggs for $1.99 in today's world at a farmers market. So hit your farmers market up, and if you can grow a little food, if you can get enough people together, maybe you create a little group. You grow the cucumbers, you grow the basil, you grow the tomatoes, you grow whatever, if you can create something like that, or not, grow whatever you can grow in your backyard, or get a little system for it in the house. But you have to do something. Those are my ideas, and that's the breakdown of fruits and vegetables and what's going on out here. The PPI is telling us that it's rough out here. I'm pretty sure you already know it's rough out here. Most people are already feeling it. A lot of people are laid off. We have found out that the job numbers are fake, which some people already kind of knew. And it's probably going to get a lot rougher before it gets better. It has to get rougher before it gets better. And that's the unfortunate truth. And that's what we keep trying to kick down the road, and we keep trying to avoid the pain. And it's just making it worse and worse and worse, and digging us further into a ditch. Further. So what are y'all doing to keep y'all grocery bills in check? Let me know. Is the price of fruits and vegetables hurting you and your journey to be healthy? Let me know below. Drop a comment. I would love to hear it. Again, I'm Gary from fitnessfirstnutrition.com. I appreciate you for watching this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next video.